Hi everybody, welcome back. This is James, the Denture Box digital denture technician creator that works the software at Denture Box, and he's going to walk us through what he does when he gets your try-in in.
So we have the stone models poured from impressions, and the first thing I do here is I just scan them into the computer. So this is my digital scanner. It scans the model and converts it into a digital model. And this is what I designed the denture bases on, and it's pretty accurate, so it allows for pretty exact fit, which is nice.
Oh, nice. And I could see the machine over here. What is it? How does that work? Does it...
This one's cool because it has a rotating platform on the inside and a camera that moves up and down and scans it from different directions. So it just works to capture the impression from every angle, make sure that it has the most information it can get, and then, like I said, it converts it into a digital model, which I can then bring into the software.
Okay, so it's really important that you get good impressions then.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see here, you can even see like the fingerprints on the person's impression. So it's pretty detailed. So yeah, the better the impression that we get, the better the fit that the person usually has. So.
Heck yeah, you could see the fingerprints on that. Wow, that's amazing. This is amazing technology.
Nobody takes a perfect impression,
right.
So as long as we get it good enough, we can usually get a great fit. But we also create the custom trays from these. Mm-hmm. So if we don't get it the first time, we can always try again and work with the try-ins to improve the fit over time.
Perfect.
That's the best part about the Denture Box process.
And I know the custom tray feels very, very good in your mouth. It's made for you and it just feels good. How long does it take for that to scan and...
So it takes about a minute to scan each model, and then I put them into an articulator scan, and this was mounted using the bite registration. And with this, I'm able to kind of get a relationship between the person's jaws.
Okay.
And so I'll scan that next, and it'll bring it in the correct occlusion, and that's how I get the person's bite.
And the occlusion is where your teeth come together when you bite.
Yeah, so sometimes if the tilt is wrong or something, your teeth won't come together right, and that's pretty common. So we use the try-ins to take new bite registration, and that again just helps us narrow down a person's jaw relationship over time.
Okay, so now you're going to scan in the lower.
Yep, so I just scanned in the upper, and I'm going to trim it up here. Excellent. So now I'll scan the lower here. And then when I scan the articulator, it'll take these and it'll put them in the correct position.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
That is really interesting. This technology they have now is just amazing.
All right, so there I've scanned the lower. Now I can put the articulator in here and take a scan of that. And the articulator takes up like the whole scanner, so it doesn't spin around like the models do. But I just want to get enough information here to kind of figure out what position they're in. And then the software kind of takes care of the rest here. So now it's taking the upper model, if that's where the upper goes. And then there we go.
Wow.
Yeah, so now that that's done, it will take these scans and it converts them into a 3D file. All right, so now that we've scanned in some models here, we can start the design process. So the first thing I usually do is, like I said, nobody takes a perfect impression. Sometimes there's noise or like weird little things that pop up. Like here you can see a hole appeared, and there's like some noise and stuff. that needs to get cleaned up, so I can trim stuff. I can edit the scan software, smooth things out.
Oh, I see. You're taking those right off there.
Yeah.
All the little air bubble pockets.
Yeah. So obviously you probably don't have those little divots in your jawbone there. So I just go through and clean this up, because sometimes that could make something that'll poke into your tissue.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to make you something that's going to be uncomfortable. Then once I prep the jaw scan, then I can start designing. So just clean up some of this, smooth that out.
This is amazing how you do this. I've learned quite a bit since I've been here, and it's not push a button, make a denture. There's a lot of steps to this.
Yeah, and every case is different, which I think is fun and interesting. Some are easy, and some have just a challenge after challenge. But what I like about the Denture Box process is that it's a process, and we work it through start to finish, and we can always find a way to get something that's going to work for everybody.
Right.
So now the scans are ready. So here I use the computer software to kind of analyze your jaw scan. So based off of your oral anatomy, I want to try to figure out where your teeth are supposed to be. So we kind of create the smile line, and that's a little low. There we go. And then mark your anatomical landmarks.
And that would be points. You want to explain that just a little bit?
It's kind of sciencey, but there's edentulous landmarks. Like these are called your maxillary tuberosities. It's like the back part of your upper edentulous jaws. There's a couple of other. I mean, this is the Ralph median plane.
Okay.
So there's
So that helps you decide where the teeth go.
Yeah. So this is kind of creates like a guideline basically.
Okay.
So a lot of times, the software doesn't actually know where a person's teeth are supposed to go, but using these, I can kind of give myself a guide to help me visually see what I need to look at in order to figure out where a person's teeth are supposed to go. So that was a basic model analysis. And it'll go and bring teeth in. And so I use the Vita Bionic Vigo teeth. And what's nice about the model analysis is that it'll kind of give me like recommendations for like tooth size and shape and stuff. So
I was just going to ask you how you knew what size tooth to put in there.
A lot of times it's pretty arbitrary. I mean, sometimes a person will come in and they'll know sort of what they're looking for. They're like, I want a more like kind of a boxier tooth. That's what my natural teeth were and what my existing dentures look like. So I'll say, okay, well, you kind of have a bit of a like a normal sized mouth, and I'll use the rectangular sized teeth, and then I can bring them in and kind of look at it and be like, well, this is maybe a little too wide, maybe a little too small. As you can see, I don't have a lot of space in the back here, so maybe if I want to give this person if I want to give you a second molar, I need to go down to a smaller tooth size.
Okay.
There we go. So that's starting to look pretty good.
Okay.
We went with the T48s for you though, so I'll switch to those.
This is that he's working on. This is my actual denture scan. My
There we go.
impression scan.
So see, it kind of brought it in based off of the model analysis, but it does weird stuff like this, where like a tooth is in the wrong position or something like that. So that will take us to the next step here.
So I know on this design that you're doing now, I know I remember I wanted the little bit bigger teeth.
A lot of times, you know, we will take an impression of a person's existing denture, and what I can do with that is bring it in to operate as like a guideline here. So these were try-ins that I had already made for you, and then we were like, well, the teeth are too narrow in the back, so let's bring the backs out a bit, and then you can see. So this was the design that we had.
Yeah.
You were like, bring out the back teeth, so I created a new design where the teeth were wider.
Yes.
And it's cool that I can kind of switch between these.
And when you switch, explain what the blue is.
So the blue is a pre-op scan. It's like an existing design. Whether I took your existing denture impression that you took with Jen on the video call and scan it into the computer, that looks something like this. And then I could bring it in and kind of put it over your jaw scan and take a look at it. I just use it as a reference for the design.
So the blue is the reference.
Yeah.
And now put the other one on there.
And then the white are the teeth that I'm designing with. And so the first step, like we saw here, is to place the teeth. And then the second step is to create a base that goes around those teeth and forms to your mouth. So, what's cool about the digital software is that you can look at the teeth kind of over the ridge and kind of use the person's anatomy to kind of design their smile and move the teeth individually however you need them to be. So this is super goofy. We're gonna just fix that up for you. Straighten these canines out.
That's amazing. You can move one tooth at a time.
Yeah, the back teeth here, you know, these move as a singular unit because you want them to work with the opposing teeth. So on if you have like existing dentition on like you already have lower teeth and we're just making an upper denture, I can move all of these individually. But with double arch cases like yours,
Yeah.
you know, we want the back teeth to come together a specific way, and that just helps you.
So when you move the top, the bottom automatically move.
Yeah, and that's just for these back teeth here like that. So
Okay.
I want to keep these in occlusion
Okay.
and kind of line up.
Occlusion is how the teeth come together.
Right. And then I want to move them over your ridge so that your bone can kind of support when you're chewing. And that's the basics for getting a good fitting denture. So do the same thing with the lower. Get these kind of lined up here. These are kind of tilted inwards, so I'm gonna tilt them out.
Yeah.
There we go. It's looking better.
Oh, they're in the water. Oh, that's right, they're in the water.
Okay.
Excellent. And then I have another tool that kind of treats them as like a chain of teeth. So I'm going to use that here, and it'll move them so that they're not like intersecting each other, and so that they are touching each other like this. And then I can kind of move them as like a group, which is pretty useful as well.
Oh, now will the bottom move also if there's a bottom arch that you need to make? Or do you have to manually move those?
With a double arch case like this, the posteriors are locked, and so I get those set up, and then I work the anteriors until they're in the front teeth until they're in the correct position here.
Okay.
So do something like this, get them to where I want them to be. And then once I start to have the basis of a design, I can kind of make some fine tuning.
This really looks like fun to me.
It is. It's pretty fun sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's difficult. You know, somebody wants something really specific, and then there's
I
You have
know.
to-
Remember, I wanted specific.
Yeah, and so I would say just making a denture that works in somebody's mouth is pretty easy, but once they see the design and then they want to make changes depending on what they think looks better, or maybe something's bothering them and like rubbing and they need that corrected, then we start to have to try to figure out what the problem is and correct it bit by bit. So here your midline wasn't lining up, so let me just move that around. There you go. So now your midlines are lined up. Your teeth are starting to be in the right position.
Nice.
You wanted super Bucky Beaver teeth, so we're just going to give you some goofy teeth there.
Okay.
Just like that. Perfect. That won't look ridiculous in your mouth at all. That'll look beautiful.
No. I think that you guys have sent me some goofy teeth before to do a video with. Well, I know I've been watching you for a couple of days now, and you take your time on all these cases. You make sure they're right.
I do, because Jen and Steph go through all the effort of talking to you guys and figuring out what you are looking for in your smile, and a little bit goes a long way. I mean, I just moved these front teeth down like 1 millimeter, and now they look absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
It'll make you look super silly.
Right.
And maybe these were already too low, and so like maybe I needed to go in and move them so that they're all like up here.
Right.
Yeah, all of these little things kind of come together, and I have to, listen to Jen and Steph's communication and make sure I'm doing it the way that you guys are expecting.
That's the difference with Denture Box. The client gets to talk and say, hey, this is what I want, and express that to Jen or Steph, and then they listen. They really listen. Then they come bring it to you, and you're doing it.
Yep, they say, look, those two front teeth were way too low. You made her look like a horse or like a beaver or something. Can you fix that? It's like, okay. There we go. Got that fixed.
Straight, yeah.
There we go. So this is a pretty basic design. Kind of take a look at it. These teeth are kind of high. These teeth are kind of low. Let's fix that. So the software gives me a couple of different tools for making changes like this. So I do appreciate how nice the technology is sometimes. It really works in my favor.
Well, that's good. And then when you're all done with this, you hit print and it prints. The base will print. If this is the final design, the base prints.
Yeah, so now that we've got, let's say that this is good here. Stop fiddling with it.
I know I could fiddle all day with stuff when I work on things.
Yeah.
There's got to be a point where it's like, okay, it's good.
Yeah, I do like to give people nice, clean looking smiles. Sometimes people don't want that though. Sometimes they want they don't want it to look perfect like a denture. They want it to look kind of natural.
Right.
So, but it's all about making it work in the person's mouth. So now we are converting your jaw scan. So here I'm just deciding how it's going to go into the person's mouth. So you kind of have this undercut here. It like goes around and then up.
Yeah.
And the base is going to be like a hard plastic. So I got to figure out how you're going to get it to go around your gums and sit where it's supposed to. So I'm gonna.
James, you're good.
Thanks.
I never realized that I had an undercut like that, but it doesn't hurt. Nothing hurts.
So when you put your denture in, does it go straight up, or do you kind of have to put it in from the front? You kind of
put it in from the front.
Right. So, and that's so that it can go around this piece of bone right here, because this up here is kind of soft tissue, and it's a little bit more malleable. But right here, this is all like hard bone, so we got to work around that. but I don't want it to be too tight and pinch up here. So here it kind of will like block these portions out, and I can like use the software to make sure that there's enough wiggle room to slide that over the top of your gums, which is pretty cool. So that's designed. We'll do the same thing for the lower. Lower's a little bit easier. Sometimes I'll use the teeth, you know, because the lower just kind of sits on your ridge.
Yeah.
And I don't want it, like when you go to take a bite, it'll kick it off. So I will usually use the teeth direction as a reference for the lower. Excellent. All right. And then here is where I designed the boundary of the denture. So where are we? Okay, here we go. All right. And I'm going to draw a border. And now, you know, here you might have said that you have like a severe gag reflex, so I might like bring it up around here, kind of avoid like going too far back.
Yeah.
Give you more of like a crescent shape arch. Or maybe it doesn't stay in if it doesn't go back far enough. So you want it to go like straight across like this. So again, this is really where it really helps to get feedback from Jen and Steph talking to you guys and figuring out what works for you.
Right, because that is a personal choice right there, what you want in the back.
Mm-hmm. And this is where the software totally butchers it. And I have to do a bunch of work to make it correct.
Oh.
So I drew the lines. And I'm going to put some material in here for me. Okay, yeah, so here I drew the lines and it put in some material, but obviously it didn't come out quite right, but that's okay, we'll fix that later. So we'll do the same thing for the lower one. You give me a nice looking lower impression, very, very clean, easy to follow here, so. But here a bit of bone that kind of sticks out.
Yeah.
You know, if I just go like right around that, it might rub when it goes over there. That's a pretty sensitive area for a lot of people. So just want to make sure that I'm going where I need to go. Okay, here we go. So here is the bases that it created for me. Couple of errors, as you can see, it's not quite right, but I could go through and just kind of freeform this however I need it to be. So usually I'll start by kind of smoothing up the edges, getting everything into the right spot.
So like only the yellow will print when you print it,
So
not the pink or
the color determines the thickness of the base. So over here,
okay, all right.
yeah, it shows like how much material is there. So I want to make sure that it's supported.
Okay.
It's going to be strong enough, but also I don't want it to be too bulky. So if you look here, this is like a lot of material, and it might give you like, you know, kind of like you're smuggling some peanuts or something. So I'm gonna just go in there and smooth that out, thin it out here, and then once it gets thin enough, it'll start to like change color, and that's letting me know that I might be making it a little too thin. So once it gets to the pink, that's less than the minimum thickness that I'm going for, which is 2.3 millimeters.
Okay.
That it's just a good amount of thickness to make it sturdy and
Yeah.
but not too uncomfortable.
Right. Okay.
This is also where I will kind of set the gum line. So here I want to make sure that they're all even. It also kind of affects how tall the teeth look, because as you can see, there's teeth underneath the gum line.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
where the gum is kind of determines how tall they look when you look at it. So here I'm just kind of getting it close enough to the right shape, get the gum line created. I'll do the same for the upper.
Okay.
The gum line on the upper is obviously more important because of aesthetics.
Right. Right. You can see that.
Yeah.
more.
So some people might want like a more gum tissue like in between the teeth here, so I
Okay.
can like extend that and add to it. Something like that, and that changes the way that the teeth look.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it does.
Or I might, you might say that you want a lot of tooth showing. So I can kind of go in here and push the gum line up, and so it makes them more prominent.
Mm-hmm.
So the teeth are in the same position in your mouth, but they look physically different depending on the shape of the gum line. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
So I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm just going to make sure that it's going all the way up. It's not too thick, not too thin. Same thing with the palate. I'll usually thin the palate out.
Okay. That's good. Nobody likes a thick palate,
Yeah.
you know.
I wouldn't say nobody. There are people
Are
that
there?
do. Yeah, there are people that do. There's always an exception to the rule, which is another pretty fun thing when it comes to doing these cases. You're never always just doing the same exact thing. You always
Right.
are doing what people ask you to do.
Right.
Sometimes you're like, if you say so, you know.
Sure.
So here I've smoothed it out so that it's a nice. Let's see, it's kind of like a little lumpy there.
Yeah.
I want to give you, if it's lumpy, you probably would be rubbing it with your tongue all the
Yeah,
time.
that would feel icky.
There we go. Thin it down in the back. Because that can give people a lisp if it's too thick back
Mhm.
here. And this is where I'll just make sure I got the shape of the arch the way I want it to. All right. All right, and so now we had all this material here that we were able to work with. And so this adapts the teeth. It creates pockets for the teeth, and then it also trims all of this to be the shape of your mouth.
Okay.
And so there's some settings that we have to work with that here, but I've already got all those set.
So when you guys print your final denture, you do not print the teeth.
No, basically the teeth that you see on the computer screen here, these are a representation of where the teeth will go once we make.
I have footage of Jen bonding each tooth in the hole that I
Right.
could add up to here so that everybody can understand what we're talking about, because you have Vita teeth here,
Mm-hmm.
and they're they're much prettier than a printed tooth. A regular printed tooth is just one solid shade of white.
All right, so now it's trimmed out the inside of the material to create a base that fits along the inside of your mouth. And it's also carved out these pockets based off of where I had the gum line. And so these pockets are for the specific shape of the teeth. So these teeth will fit right into those when it's time to finish the final denture.
Okay.
In the computer software, what I can do is I can combine these into a single piece so that it looks like this, and I can print it out. And this is your try-in. That's what we will use to
Okay.
look at the design and see if it fits and if you want to make any changes, anything like that.
Okay.
But obviously this still isn't a finished design, so what I'll do is I get this far, and then I go in and we'll make the finishing touches. This is probably, placing the teeth takes a while, but this is probably, I would say, the longest process, because as you can see, it can get quite messy, and there's a lot of details. I feel to this part, I want to make sure that it's the right thickness, and that there's no sharp edges, things like that. So I might bulk it up over here, smooth it down, and then that way it has like a nice smooth surface that goes up, rather than being sharp and pointy and poking into your gum line.
Yeah.
So I smooth that down. I do, there's a denture term called festooning, and that's like creating kind of like the lip around where the gum touches the tooth.
Okay.
So I'll like kind of create that lip here.
There's a lot of detail here.
Yeah, kind of create like those interdental spaces here. Smooth that out. Alright, so here, yeah, it looks like flat, plain Jane. But here, there's like texture. It looks like the teeth are embedded into the actual gum tissue. So I think that gives it like a realistic look. Makes it look cleaner and feel more natural. Some people like the smoothness because they don't like it rubbing and things like that. Or somebody might not like that underneath their lip, that this is like will push it out, and again kind of make it look like you have something underneath your lip. But so I might thin this out so that there's less lip support.
Okay.
But I can make changes like that here. And yeah, I make the finishing touches. I'll add a palatal seal to give you some suction. So this will push up into the soft tissue on the palate of your mouth here, and help give you that seal, that suction. So yeah, that's about it. I'll make finishing touches, and then I'll go in and merge it into a singular piece and print it out as a try-in. And then we clean it up and get it sent out so that you can try out this design and see if it works for you. And if not, you can get on a call with Jen or Steph, tell them all about it. They'll relay it to me, and I'll go in here and get it corrected for you.
Okay, and this try-in, they want you to wear for like a week and eat with it and live with it, and the color that it comes in is actually a shade of the denture tooth that you have.
Yeah, but we only have like one shade for the try-ins. We kind of gauge what shade you want your teeth based off of the color of the try-in. If you want it very white, we do have like the bright white, which is what you have.
Yeah.
And then there is like a more natural shade, and then there's like a darker shade. And so here now it's one singular piece, and it adds this texture in here, but we smooth that out before we send it. And that's it. That's a try-in. Another thing that we do is we can bring you in when you're on the video call so that you can look at my computer screen while I'm looking at your design. And that way you can
Have an input on what it looks like.
right, you can see it in
Before
real
it's-
time. Exactly.
That's really nice that you guys do that.
Yeah, so sometimes there's barriers to communicating about these issues. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
if you need to really see it, you know, you could say, "Hey, can we look at the upper?" And then you might say, "Well, you see how those where the canine touches the molars?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of in. Can you just bring this out a little bit?"
Yeah.
And I think getting to see it in the software like this makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. It really does. All right, James. Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate this.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Happy to talk to people about the technology that we use and the process that goes into getting you your smile from start to finish. So,
All right. Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate it.
have a great day.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Sorry, I'm